Welcome to the Test Administration System Training for ISTEP Online, Spring 2015. Let's start by going over a few of the dates. CTB created the practice test sessions on March 25th. The operational test sessions were created on April 6th. The practice test window runs from March 25th through May 15th, and the operational test is now April 23rd through May 15th. Some common terminology. Experience College and Career Ready Assessments. It's basically the internet simulation of the test delivery client. This was released by CTB in the fall, so hopefully your students have already had a chance to practice with that. The Sandbox Test Administration System is also known as the online demo site. That's what you will be using to train your teachers and also to test the technology. The Test Administration System, also known as TAS, is the administrative system for managing student records and student test sessions. We also have a reminder here that there are virtual test forms. Every grade level has 3 different operational forms. Same test questions, but they are in a different order. That is one reason why it is so critical that your students receiving accommodations need to be using the screen reader that is provided by the system. This is just a reminder of the various roles played by the school test coordinator. Primarily, you'll be reviewing the documents, attending the training, which you are doing right now by watching this recording, confirm site readiness with your computer coordinator, managing accommodations, review the test assignments, print and store those test tickets, design the schedule, and develop a phone tree for what to do if things go wrong. During the test, your primary role is to supervise the administration of the testing and then check on the status of testing completions. Afterwards, if you have any student test invalidations, you would need to notify the corporation test coordinator and then finally return all of those test tickets to the CTC. The school test examiner has several roles. Before the test, they need to determine if there are any materials needed for testing that is outside of the testing system. For example, do they need paper and pencil? They need to review the examiner's manuals, have a timing chart ready, and then confirm and document the assessment dates, times, and locations. During the test, their job is to direct the students to the screen login, and they need to distribute the test tickets, provide the test access codes one session at a time, read the directions from the online examiner's manuals, walk around the classroom, verify that all students have exited the test properly, assist the students with any issues during testing, and record any timing irregularities on the timing chart. Afterwards, they need to collect all of those test tickets, return them to the STC, and notify of any test irregularities to that STC. These are just a few reminders of some of the general things that you will be responsible for. You do need to work carefully with your computer coordinators. You need to think about your accommodations groups. Be aware of any outside of system accommodations they might need, such as a calculator. Be very careful in developing that local test schedule. Make sure you allow enough transition time between the grades. Remember that the timing is done the same as paper pencil. The system does not time it for us. Remember to track any testing irregularities and have a timing chart. To help you with that, we will be providing a timing chart for you to use, as well as a tracking spreadsheet as we have done in previous years. This will be emailed to you. Now, as an overview, there are 2 main sections to the online testing system. Let's start at the top of the screen. You can see the student testing software known as the TDC, or Test Delivery Client. This provides a lockdown browser so they can't just simply go out to Google and get some answers from them. This has to be installed on the workstations. That is what your computer coordinators have been very busily getting that taken care of. Now, that test administration system, or TAS, is where we actually manage the student data and do the test assignments and monitor the testing status. This is an internet-based piece. It can be done on your desktop computer. It could be done on an iPad. It also works on the MacBooks if you so desire. This slide is a reminder of the various tools that all students have available to them. Blocking ruler, eraser, highlighter, manipulatives such as protractors, rulers, and calculators for certain grade levels, an ability to mark for later review, and an option eliminator. Our students with accommodations will also have the ability to have an online screen reader, which is sometimes referred to as a TTS, which would stand for text-to-speech. There also is an online calculator available for students in grades 6 through 8. For our elementary buildings, what you need to remember is if your student has a calculator accommodation written into their IEP, one does need to be provided for them. Okay, as far as test creation goes, CTB took care of creating both that practice test opportunity and the operational test. What you need to know about this is any student that moves in after the date of April 6th, those have to be manually assigned into a test session. Okay, and this gives us a look at the Sandbox test site. You'll find that at that same ctb.com/ISTEP webpage on the lower right-hand side. ISTEP Plus Online Demo. The credentials that you need to use to log in are noted at the bottom of this slide. It's the demo_D6865. Password is all lowercase. Portage 6550. Your single sign-on user account will not work on the ISTEP Plus online demo. Make sure you use those credentials provided. As we have done in years past, when you get into that online demo site, you'll see the South Ripley Community School Corporation, and we have the various schools that we have assigned to those classrooms. And those assignments are noted there for you. Please only work in the class that you have been assigned to. And as a reminder, this demo site or the Sandbox is used to create test sessions for testing the system or for training your staff. I generally would recommend that you would create an account for each one of your teachers or a test session so that they can actually pretend to take the test themselves. Remember, grade levels are very important when creating those demo test tickets. This is a quick look at the Experience College and Career Ready Assessment, and that is that online simulation that hopefully your students have already experienced. Now, just want to talk a few moments about the comparison between that Experience College and Career Ready Assessment versus the practice test. The Experience site is available at the website, does not require login credentials, no software was needed to install, it's available around the clock, and it could even be taken at home. The practice test, on the other hand, we have to have test sessions created, students have to be assigned, it does require test tickets and the test access codes, and it requires the use of the workstation, and one practice test per student is required by the IDOE. It must be taken at school. Now we're going to go through some of the features that are available in the TAS system. We'll do some general navigation, we'll look at the assessments, and we will go over groups and student management. Okay, let's start with the general navigation. To access the online TAS system, Go to that ctb.com webpage and click on the CTB Online Applications Single Sign-In page. Enter your SSO credentials. Click Login to open My Programs Overview, and then click on the ISTEP Plus online link to open the test administration system. And as we've said, that is the system where you'll be managing all of the online testing. When you first get in, this is what your landing page will look like. Oftentimes, it appears blank when you first open it up. Just to get you used to some of the navigation, we have a menu bar across the top, main section for assessments where you manage the sessions and the program status. The groups is where you will manage your students and accommodations. Services, do not use that at all. That is for our IT staff at the district level to use. In the middle of the screen, you'll see some of the tools that are available on many of the pages within the TAS system. The plus sign is Add. We have the Edit, Delete, Search, and Refresh. This just outlines some of the group selectors and filters. Click on the gray arrow to the left of the name to turn and point at the heading name. It collapses or hides the options underneath that heading. You can also see which tab you're in. It will be highlighted in blue across the top. And you also need to pay attention to which filter is active. It is highlighted in the blue, and that way you'll know that that particular filter is activated. For example, in this screen, you'll see that the XYZ school has been highlighted, so it lists the students both in Mrs. Adams and Mrs. Robinson's class. And then you can also determine where you are by the header at the top of the page. Let's take a look at the tests and how we assign tests. You would add a student to an existing test by clicking on the Assessments tab, click on Manage Sessions, click on the gray arrow to expand the school selection, click on the school name to highlight and select that school, then double-click on the existing test to open. Edit an existing test, open to the Test Details panel, click on Add Student to open the Student panel, and then you add student again on the right-hand side. This I always have to remind myself, you have to hit Add Student twice, once on the left, once on the right. Then you would navigate to the class in the Group Selector panel, click the checkbox next to the student name, click OK, and click Save. Now, on occasion, you might need to actually create a new test. This is done more often in that Sandbox or the online demo site because most of the test sessions have already been created for you. But there may be a few instances where you might need to do that in the live TAS system. To do so, you click on the Assessments tab, click on Manage Sessions, click on the gray arrow to expand the school selection, click on the school name to highlight and select that school, then click on Schedule Session. Select the test from the Test Group drop-down, click on the test name in the list to choose and highlight, click on the Test Details panel tab. You may need to do some editing here, add a test name, start and end date, which must be in the test window, clarifying the time. Then click the Add Student panel tab. And again, the second time, click on the Add Student button. Navigate to the class, click the box next to the student name, click OK. And the new test has been successfully created. Just a couple of reminders. You will see in this system it says untimed, and that always throws us because we are so used to ISTEP and iRead being timed tests. They are, but they have to be manually timed by the teacher. Also, you'll see the checkbox by allow test breaks. It has been checked and you cannot uncheck the box. That is what allows for those test access codes, why we have a separate access code for every session of the test. It's just one more increased security feature. To print the test tickets, click on the Assessments tab, click on Manage Sessions, click Print Test Tickets button, and click one time on that test session to highlight. Then choose a test ticket level option, whether you want to do it by corporation, school, or class, and then make determinations about what you need to have printed. I think most of you use the multiple test ticket format, and it's up to you to determine whether you want to have it 2 to a page, 4 to a page. You will also need that summary test ticket, which gives all of the test access codes. Program status. Click on the Assessments tab, click on Program Status, and then drill down to the appropriate level by school or by class, and then select the test from that drop-down menu. And then you can see the students are grouped by the test not started, what has been started, and what has been completed. You can click on the underlined number, which is a blue hyperlink, to view the status details of the actual students that are included in that group. Before you begin testing, I would highly recommend that you verify the numbers of students testing. If you have 67 students in 4th grade, you should have 67 students assigned to the 4th grade ISTEP test. And this gives you a look at the test details from that program status menu. The last section that we're going to go over is the student management area of the TAS system. If you need to find or edit an existing student, click on the Groups tab, click on Manage Students, choose Student List, then use the Group Selector feature to navigate to the desired level to filter in the view and view the students. You can use the search feature if you prefer. Just click on the little magnifying glass, and then you only have to type in just a few letters of the student's first or last name and hit search. Then once you find the student that you are looking for, double click on their name, which will open up the student profile. Click on the specific accommodations to open that panel if needed. Make any necessary edits to the student record, like assigning the screen reader accommodation, and then hit save. Now, if you have a student that moves from one school to another within our school district, please notify our office. Do not move the students between the schools. At your level, if you have the student that is moving out, you're going to flag them as will not, did not test, which we're going to review in just a moment. The receiving school will need to add them as a new student. And then if you want to double check on the accommodations, you can see that you need to double check that before the student logs in to take the test. You can do that by reviewing the student record, specific accommodations. You can also see that on the summary test tickets. It contains a list of who has been assigned to the various accommodations. If you need to add a new student, somebody moves into your school, click on the Groups tab, click on Manage Students, choose Student List, review the existing student list to confirm that the student is not already in the system. click the plus symbol to open the Add Student panel, and then enter the student record data. Use the Group Selector panel to locate the teacher. Click the box next to the teacher's name. Enter any additional record or assign accommodations if needed, and hit Save. Will not, did not test. This is primarily used for students that move out, or perhaps they might be taking the alternative assessment. You would click on the Groups tab, click on Manage Students, choose Will not, did not test. Use the Group Selector feature to filter in Student Records display. And then note their current designation. No indicates that the student is an active student at the current school and will test. Yes indicates that the student has moved or will not test. Keep in mind, it is a double negative, so just be very careful of what you are clicking. You would change the designation by first clicking the box next to the student record. Toggle the Toggle Moved Out of School button. Each click changes that designation between yes and no. Note the confirmation and the new designation following the selection. You also have the ability to add accommodations to multiple students. You would select Groups, Manage Students, Assign Accommodations, select the class, select all students that require the same accommodations by clicking their names, select Edit Accommodations, and a new screen will pop up. Add the accommodations as needed, hit Submit. You also might want to verify your accommodations in this same way. Select Groups, Manage Students, Assign Accommodations. Select the class, find the icon for the accommodation. I've got those up here for you. The screen reader looks like the little cloud. Online calculator, that's pretty self-explanatory. Click the icon once to sort no with yes. Click it again if you want the yeses first, or the students receiving the accommodations on the top. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to call our office and we'll be happy to assist you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation.